Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so since the start of 2019, I've been pretty much a one-watch guy. I've been wearing the Explorer 2, and come February, I'm going to take a trip. I'm going to be crossing a few time zones, and so this is going to be the watch I'm going to want to wear when I do that. And so I thought between then and now, I would put something on besides this to sort of appreciate this a little bit more when the time comes to use it. You know, it's been on my wrist for weeks, and I'm not tired of it at all. I can wear this watch for weeks and still appreciate it. Months even. You know, eventually I do want something else on my wrist after months, but this is a watch that really satisfies me for a long time. And, you know, as a watch person, that's saying a lot. You know, some watches, a couple days on the wrist is plenty. I'm looking at you, Vostok. So I thought I would trade it in, figuratively speaking, for this between now and my trip. And I love the Tudor Hydronaut. As you know, I really do like this watch a lot. And this is sort of a little sub-collection right here, these two watches. I could, I think, be totally satisfied with these two watches. You know, I think if you're a watch person, one just doesn't do it. I think 3 is too many. I think 2 is where it's at, because you have one to go back and forth with. You know, you have, sometimes you put this one on, and when you need something different, you put this one on. And I think 2 watches is really the perfect collection. And, you know, nice white dialed watch and a black dialed watch could do it, a GMT, a diver. So I could be pretty happy with these 2 watches only. They're sort of a sub-collection in the sense that I sort of feel a lot different about these watches than, say, the GMT Master 2, which is a bit of a safe queen. And, you know, the no-date sub has sort of fallen into that safe queen category, which is kind of ridiculous because, you know, that's a wearable, usable piece. You know, it's not that particular example I don't think is completely collectible because, you know, no box, no papers, replacement bezel, it's been polished. So I really, you know, need to get that out and wear it. But, you know, the GMT Master 2 is a different story. And, you know, Archie made a video a week or 2 ago, which it was an awesome video. And, you know, I think I might put a link in the description to it. I felt like he was making it for me. It was essentially, dude, you're going to die, so wear your watches, enjoy your watches. And that is damn good advice, let me tell you. You know, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but, you know, there are times when you can actually get enjoyment out of a safe queen, believe it or not. That's maybe another video, but believe it or not, I enjoy the thoughts that the GMT Master 2 give me. And in that sense, I do get enjoyment out of it, even though it's you know, stuck in a safe. So, but let's focus on these 2 watches. These are usable watches, and they're good watches, but they're usable. And, you know, I'm not picky about them. I don't mind putting them in harm's way. Not to say I abuse them, but, you know, I'll set these watches on the train. You know, which is, why am I talking about that? Well, that's just not something I would do with, say, my GMT Master 2. I would be afraid of getting, you know, dust around the crown tube. And so I'm sort of ritualistic when I set that watch. You know, I wash my hands and I set it, and I kind of try to do it in a controlled environment. And you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, and that's probably true. But with these watches, I'm just so comfortable with them, and that's what brings me so much enjoyment in regards to these 2 watches. So good watches, but to me, very, very usable, and I just have the feeling of being able to use them cavalierly without stressing about nicks and wear. And, check out that upper left lug on the Explorer 2. You see that? You guys remember when I did that? Maybe, back in Fukuoka, and not a care in the world about it. Totally cool. And it could happen to the other lug, and I would be okay with it. And that's just not the case with some of my other watches. All right, so I wanted to do a comparison before I put this one away, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was the fact that both of these watches are 100% Rolex. Okay, now that you're all triggered and tapping the hell out of the thumbs down button, let me clarify that. No, that's not the case, and I know that a Tudor is not a Rolex. Some viewers seem to think that I view Tudor as sort of a discount Rolex, and that's not the case. One viewer posted a link to a video of another watch channel, and the guy was basically saying a Tudor is not a Rolex, and if you want a Rolex, don't buy a Tudor. And I totally agree with that. That's 100% true. This Tudor, the internals are not Rolex at all. The internals are ETA, and Rolex jazzes it up. But it's an ETA movement, and really to conflate, say, this Tudor with the Rolex brand is not accurate, but they do share the same father, which is Hans Wilsdorf. And in that sense, there is a connection between Tudor and Rolex. And if you're a huge Rolex fan like I am, that's a connection that you can appreciate. I think there's no bigger connection between, Rolex and another brand than Rolex and Tudor. And I do feel like when I put on this Tudor here, I feel like I am, I'm getting some Rolex DNA. I'm getting some Rolex relationship. It's the connection that I enjoy and that I appreciate. And yes, it's not a Rolex, but it's close. It's closer than, a Rolex and a Seiko, or a Rolex and a Breitling, or a Rolex and an Omega. So if you are a Rolex fan, I can see appreciating Tudors for that connection and that relationship. But yes, these are two different brands, and you can conceptualize them, and maybe should conceptualize them as two separate and distinct brands, but that do share a certain amount of DNA. Check out that Cyclops. Now, that's a very Wilsdorfian element. Sometimes you'll see other watches with a Cyclops, and whenever I do, I always think, I don't know about that. That's kind of suspect. That's sort of a Rolex thing. And, for those of you who don't know, Hans Wilsdorf's wife had trouble seeing the date, and hence the Cyclops was born. And I feel, in that sense, the Tudor having the Cyclops is a little bit more justifiable. It's a little bit more legit, because this is a Wilsdorf watch, and to have a Wilsdorf element makes total sense. All right, well, I'm going to probably make another video really focusing on the Tudor and about what I like about it, what I dislike about it, but I really wanted to talk about one thing, and that was the thickness. When it comes to modern Tudors, there's a thickness in the case that I just don't get. I don't know why it's there. I don't know why Tudor wants to have it. I don't know if they want to give their watches a sort of a beefier, quote, wrist presence element. I think is a deal breaker for me, and while I would like the Tudor GMT, the new one, it's thick. and it's too thick. And why? Why indeed? Now, this Hydronaut is 11 millimeters thick. Here, let's compare. And I think this one is 14. And so, oh, you can see my, hey, look at me in the Explorer 2. Hey, guys. All right, so you can see that there's a thickness to the Explorer 2 that's not there with the Hydronaut. And it really, when it comes to the Explorer 2, it's the case back that protrudes, and it's the crystal. And of course, you've got the recessed bezel on the Hydronaut, which helps with the thickness. But look at that. I love a nice thin watch. I mean, there's a good medium. You wouldn't want it too thin, but 11 millimeters is perfect. I mean, I can't complain about the Explorer 2 at all, but that's nice. That's a nice thickness, and that's one reason why I love the no date sub. All right, well, let's check out the crown side. All right, so got the crowns, and again, you can see the Explorer 2 is just a tad thicker. You know, I don't think I would ever notice if I didn't have Google to tell me that this was a thinner watch. Yet another element of Rolex, the triplock crown, which this Tudor has. And it's got a real nice, look at those lug guards. Crown guards. Look at that. The crown really sits in there nicely and protected. This does have a dive watch crown for sure. Well, I mean, it's got the same type of crown with those 3 dots as my no date sub. As you can see on the dial, this is 200 meter water resistant. And, you know, if I had to make a bet, I would bet money that this could go down as deep as a sub, no problem. But you can't undercut the sub, and the fact that this is 200 meters water resistant and the sub is 300, well, that could prompt a punter to cough up the extra money for the Rolex. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about today. Really the thickness and just sort of comparing the two. And there are sort of elements of the two watches that are very similar, and they're very these two particular examples are similar in the sense that I think both were made around the 2000s, the year 2000. Both solid in-link, both holes case, and both Luminova. And you can see that the crown on the Explorer 2 is thinner, and I kind of prefer that. It's not as nice to set, but it makes for a nicer wearing experience. But this is a triplock crown. This is a twin lock crown. This is a triplock crown. 2 dots. No, the bar. That's right, the bar under the crown, and then the 3 dots. So there you have it. It's just a bit of a comparison. I could be really happy with these two as a two-piece collection. Love these watches, very usable, and hey, thanks for watching. Take care. What do you think? See you next time.